Or I had this other situation with a mom more recently, and that one was really beautiful. She came up to me and was just like, I've been going through the worst postpartum depression, like where she couldn't get out of bed, like
Mm-hmm.
was just really, really bad. And she came and she was just like, you changed like my life, and that,
Mm-hmm.
like, those moments to me, oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Those moments to me are everything.
Thank you for joining us once again for the LHP podcast. My name is Marcelo. I'm the host, and I just wanted to remind you guys that if you guys are enjoying the content that's being produced on mental health, family, cohesiveness, and also lifestyle, we want to invite you to give us a like and follow us on social media. Please. This helps us out a lot. And you know what? We also take donations and sponsorships if you guys are interested in doing so also. Our guest today is also going to talk to us about something really important, and that's empowerment. Not only empowerment with the family, but also empowering with self-esteem and being able to reach deep within you to make sure that you make your dreams come true. Our guest is full of energy, and she's here to talk to us a little bit about what she does and the tools she uses to empower the people that she works with. Miss Pamela, how are you today?
I'm very good, and you?
Thank you, and thank you for being with us last minute. We
No, of
really
course. No,
appreciate
no,
your
no.
time.
Thank you for having me.
How you feeling today?
I'm excited. I've done one interview like this similar, but not as long. So
Uh-huh.
I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited.
Yeah, it'd be quite nerve-wracking, but next thing you know, you're done with the interview
Yeah.
so quick. It goes by so quick. Could you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yes. So I teach dance classes, and I focus mainly in heels. But those dance classes have been my focus into helping women with their confidence inside and outside of the studio. So we use dance as like our tool to help them, but that confidence isn't only helping them like during the class, during the choreography. They're learning how to take it outside,
Mm-hmm.
which is the really like rewarding part.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So how'd you get into the profession?
So I used to do like talent shows and stuff when I was little, just dancing. I switched my career. I was a swimmer for 10 years. I went to college. And then when I got to college, I actually auditioned for a dance team, but I wasn't a dancer then. And I didn't make it.
Like the drill team or
Yeah,
something
like
like
a
that?
drill team for UNT, for North Texas. I didn't make it. I came back, started from scratch. And then I got into dance. And then I saw I liked it. I went to an MSU, graduated, and just kept going from there. But at first, I had a studio that was more focused on like competition dancing, which was more kids, and it was fun and everything. But once I found my heel land, which is like what I love in the girls in
Uh-huh.
heels, I saw how much more it was doing for my students. It wasn't just learning a choreography; it was something that was really changing their lives, and to me, that was beautiful. And I just like went in that direction instead. And I just,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So you kind of watch them flourish after they go into your
Yes, it's so
classes.
beautiful. Yeah, and I have like all ages. I've worked with little girls, high school girls, women, 30s, 40s, 50s. I have a little bit of everything, which is really cool.
That is really awesome. Has it been difficult to be an entrepreneur?
100%.
Yeah. What's been the
Yeah.
craziest thing that you've been through, like having to go on this new venture and being able to pretty much do everything because technically it's like your own baby, right?
Yeah, it was definitely hard. I feel like I had a hard transition of when I closed down my studio of like rebranding myself into what I wanted to do. That was definitely tough. And it's just a lot of ups and downs. There's not really like one big situation, I would say, but just a lot of like ups and downs. You have really good weeks, and then there's weeks where even currently, sometimes I'll get like 4 people in my class, and I'm like, but then the next week it's like 20. So
Yeah,
it's just
okay.
kind of like you got to trust in yourself that you know what you're doing, and that just like consistency is what's gonna take you there.
Trust in the process.
Trust
I
the
like
process.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so never get discouraged.
No. And I've been doing this for so long that I feel like that's what happens is a lot of people get discouraged because they don't see the results so fast, or they don't see the consistency that they would like. But sometimes, I mean, just you got to keep going, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It is, people have no idea how difficult it is to make sure that you keep people motivated.
Yeah.
What's been the most difficult thing for you to have to keep the people that are attending your classes motivated?
I think the difficult part is getting them there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people see my videos on my class and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't do it! Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way," and they just don't believe in themselves. So I'm like, "You can do it. Come try one." The heels again, I was like, they're optional, so there's ways of getting them in there. I feel like that's the hardest part is getting them into class. To actually like trust themselves to try something new. You know, I think a lot of people are scared to fail. And that's okay. I don't know.
That's a big deal right there, what you
I'm
just
like, I've been
said.
doing this for 15 years. So, of course, like to me, this dance is easy, you know? But if you're coming to me as day one, like, it's like, tell them, like, you can't be a lawyer in one day.
No, it's a process. Yeah.
Years.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, it's kind of the same thing with them.
Yeah. So when I was talking to Giselle, she was like, "Yeah, you know, we have to get Pamela. She's really awesome,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
she's a hard worker." And one of the things that I was really like wanting to touch upon as far as the topic is self-esteem and why it's so important nowadays. What do
Yeah.
you see in society right now? Why do you think a lot of people are struggling with their self-esteem? Young women, older women, people of all ages.
I think a lot, obviously, a huge aspect of it is social medias, obviously, but I do feel like social medias can be good and bad. I do see a change right now in social media world where I feel like people are being more real and not sugarcoating things, and I think that's taken a lot of pressure off.
When you say real, what do you mean?
Real, like when I became a mom, I like came into a new land, and a lot of moms were just more vocal on the struggles of postpartum depression, of just the real life struggles, instead of just painting this pretty picture of like, oh, this is motherhood and it's so beautiful, and you know. And so I think people are showing the struggles in their lives, and I feel like that relieves a lot of pressure for a person, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So they're being more real on camera, and then all of a sudden people could relate to them.
Yeah,
like,
and
okay.
it's like, oh, I'm not the only one that's struggling, or you know,
Why couldn't we do that from the beginning?
I don't know, and I feel so bad because I feel like thankfully I went to high school when barely, not even, I don't think even Facebook was out. I think it was still MySpace.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
So
hey, don't say too much about.
So for me, like I didn't get to really experience that. Like to us, the big thing was the top 8 on MySpace, and that was it. You know, so I can definitely like empathize for these young girls, because I'm like, I can't imagine what it is to be in high school, middle school, with that kind of pressure and that kind of, you know, that's so hard. Like I do feel for them, and I try to do a lot of stuff with high schools, especially because I feel like if I can change their mindset at that age, like imagine how they can be by the time they're my age. You know, like I feel like I changed my mindset realistically at like maybe 3-4 years ago, like so I'm like, that was so late. So I'm like, for them, if I can get them to have like a positive mindset at 13-14, like they're set, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. But why is it so important to have a positive mindset?
It's your life. Every decision, if you have a good mentality, you're gonna keep choosing right choices for your life, you know, and not fall into toxic partners and toxic friendships, and just learn how to have your own voice, you know? I think that's so important.
Okay, so it looks like it appears that we're living in a world of toxicity right now.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you identify those type of things, or do you ever have a time where all of a sudden you're conducting a class and then you see one of your participants is not their usual self? What do you do? Do you reach out to them?
I usually, not during class, I just keep going. If I sense them, I'll message them, I'll text them. Just yesterday, actually, I had one of my students was like, I wasn't going to come. She was like, I'm potty training my kid. It was like a mess all day. She was just like not having it. So when she got there, you could tell her self-esteem was just kind of, she wasn't her, you know, but it's the magic of dance, of like after the hour, like it was like nothing happened, you know? So sometimes just letting them use dance like as a therapy tool by the end of class, like they don't need to have maybe that deep conversation that they felt like, or like done, like suffocated, you know? Like,
because it's so vital that people engage in some sort of physical activity.
Yes, and I love it. I love dance. I preach it because I'm like, it's dance, it's your artistic, it's like your therapy, you're expressing. So it's like everything falls into one category, and you're also getting like a workout, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
So how many classes do you conduct per day?
I don't teach often. I teach Mondays 8 to 9 is like my fitness class,
Mm-hmm.
which is more for like it's for all levels, but it's more just to gain stamina, cardio, strength, you know. And then on Thursdays I teach my heels class 8 to 9:30 p.m. And that one's heels optional, and that one's more like open level and more sexy and more fun.
Well, that kind of sounds difficult. Can you kind of explain what the heels thing is all
Yeah,
about?
so heels, it's pretty much, I feel like it started more, you'll see it more with like music artists, like the backup dancers, that you'll see more. It really grew maybe like these past 5 years. It's literally kind of any style of dance in a heel. So there's ways to interpret it, like a slow emotional piece, but you're still in a heel. And it just gives like such a crazy power that like even when we're just starting class and I tell the girls, okay, put them on and let's just do some walks, like as soon as they put them on, it's like a little magic, like and they you know, like their shoulders pull back, they have like this confidence in a heel. And that's why I loved it, because it gave a little bit something besides just teaching dance in like a sneaker. You know, it gave a little bit oomph to the girls.
Well, you said one word that really stood out right now, which was confidence.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of girls right now are struggling with confidence?
A lot. I see it a lot, and I see it of all ages, and it's sad because it's just in their head, you know, and it's just something they're used to. And I feel like we just don't teach the confidence young, you know. So after they experience everything they experienced through middle school, high school, like how can you bring that confidence back? You know, I think that's hard, and that's why I'm trying to target at a younger age so they don't have to like rework their brain, and you know.
Yeah, definitely. So you're working with younger crowds. Let's go ahead and say you're working with a 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl. Do you invite the parents also, like the mom, to be in on the fun also?
Yes, everyone's more than welcome. I used to have a student, she just moved, but she would bring her, and it was her and her mom. And I loved it because I'm like, it shows that like at any age you could be doing this, you know, like there's not an age limit, a deadline that you can dance in.
What does it do in your experience to the relationship with mom and daughter when they engage in activities together like that?
I think it's so important. Like I think the bonding, and I think they get to like understand each other on a different level of just like mom and daughter, you know, like they're exploring new things together, and just even how they're growing as confidence. But like when I would see the mom and the daughter, it's like they push each other, and even just learning how to support each other in a different sense of like mom and daughter, you know. I think that's also really special.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is special. And I think that anything having to do with creating a space for mother and daughter, mother and father, family to be together is also very important. Yeah. So when you're engaging them in doing physical activity and exercises and being in your classes, do you think it does it filter down into the rest of the family also, the good moods and all that?
Yeah, it has to, you know. Like,
how does it work out with your family?
It changes my mood. There's times like same as the girls, like I'll be such in a cranky mood or even lazy. I'm like, I don't want to go teach. I'm like, it's just not the day. I don't want to choreograph, but I go, and once I get there and
how do you
I
pump
see the
yourself?
Girls,
Those are the questions that are the most important ones.
To me, I think I just remember my goal, that I like what I want to do, you know, and I'm blessed to be doing what I love. And I think that makes a huge difference, that even like on my lazy days, like I love this so much that I'm like, like it doesn't feel like impossible to push me out to go do it, you know?
So you're saying passion is also something really good?
Yeah. I definitely searched into finding, to working in something that I'm passionate about, because then it doesn't feel like work, you know. There's a lot of stuff that I do with them that I'm like, oh, this video shoot and this workshop, and to me it's so much fun. I'm like, this isn't work,
isn't it?
You know, like
it doesn't feel like work, but
no,
yet
not at all. But it is. I mean, you know, and that's what I think. If you can find that in your life, like go for it. Like it's gonna be hard, you know. Like dance isn't something that brings in a lot of money. That there's a lot of competition on it, you know. But it's something that fulfills me. So.
I think more than that, also like the motivation to get up and do it.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with that.
Same.
I've seen sometimes, I go to the gym often, and my wife and I do that together. And I know there's days where she's like, I just don't want to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, let's just go. The minute we get there, the mentality is going to change. Yeah, it is. And then we get to the gym and it's the switch hasn't gone on yet. It's not until we actually engage in the actual exercise where things begin to change.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine that with you have a warm up or some sort of routine to get them into doing the exercise, right?
Going. Yeah. Usually I think I think what we were saying, just showing up is going to be the hardest thing, like once you're there, it's easy, but going, and it's like the same for me. I'm like, I a lot of the stuff that motivates me is back and forth with the girls, because I see how much like my classes are helping them. And when I cancel, they're like, no. So to me,
they get bummed out.
Yeah. So to me, I'm like, oh, like I can't bum them out. Like, ni modo, go, just go to work. Yeah. So they kind of help me in the same sense too, And even there's days where I'm like, I'm going through stuff, personal stuff, that I'm just like, I'm not in the headspace to go teach. But I try and use whatever I'm teaching to help me get out of it as well. So sometimes if I'm in a funk, I'll teach them a song that's like more sad and just like, but it makes me go there, and it's also more real again, like to them, of like, hey, and I explain sometimes too, like, I'm having a bad day, so this is the type of song we're doing.
So you declare that you're having a bad day.
I let them know.
Okay, and with that, man, that's golden. You break the ice.
Yeah,
right?
And they're like, oh, like she's not perfect, like she's not here.
She's
I'll
human.
just like, yeah. And that's what I'm trying to keep, I think, more in my classes. Like there's times where I taught recently after my coach's funeral. And I was just like, my headspace like isn't here. I'm here for you girls, but I kind of need your help too.
Your positive vibes.
Yes, and they definitely interact with me and give that to me. So it's a very beautiful community of support, and it goes both ways.
It sounds like you're building a really good community.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you see in the future as far as growth and being able to reach more people in this art that you're doing, because it's definitely an art form, and it's definitely something therapeutic that I would recommend for anyone who is just struggling to find that motivation.
Yeah.
What do you see yourself doing within the next year, 6 months?
I see myself maybe within the year. I'm looking for a space to call my own, so I can really teach more often and teach different levels and stuff like that.
Where are the classes taking place right now?
Right now I'm renting out of a studio called Tempo.
Okay.
So I rent out twice a week and stuff there. But I do want to have my own space, even just like the energy that you get when you're in there, and just like my own place. And just my main goal is just to try and convince girls to be open and come try it, because I'm telling you, I was like, once they come, they stay. But I get so many girls that text me like, I'm so scared to take your class. I'm so intimidated. And that's just my goal, is to try.
They text you that?
They'll DM me. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're like, I want to go, but I'm just so scared. And I'm like, what are you scared of? Like,
Okay. So you respond right away.
Yeah. I let them know. I'm like I like understanding their fear, right? Like I get it, but I also try and push them and be like, what's the worst that can happen? You're going to mess up the dance. Like, and I try to remind them all the time. I'm like, you're not in an audition. You're not like, this is just class.
It's
like,
just class just to engage in an exercise.
Yeah. And
okay.
you're meant to mess up. It's in an hour. Like, you're not gonna get this perfect unless you're a professional dancer.
They don't have to worry about being like in a competition or anything like that.
No, nothing at all. These are just classes. So I have a company called LHP that like if we do want to do bigger stuff, like backup dancers and stuff, they are available. But the overall community is literally for everyone. I have like nurses, lawyers, accountants, moms, like
all walks of life.
All walks of life.
That is awesome there.
So I want people to realize, I think, because I think how I started, I felt like people thought it was like, oh, it's just dancers, because I started with a competition studio and like stuff like that. But it's definitely moved to more for like any type of woman.
Yeah. It's evolved.
It's evolved. It's not just for dancers anymore. Like and that's what I love about heels, is that all over the world, that's what it's attracted, just women, not necessarily dancers. That
is awesome. That's golden.
Yeah.
Talk to me about those projects that you're working on, because I know Giselle tells me a lot about some of the projects that you have right now to empower women right now. What are some of the things that you're doing?
Right now, we just finished up one. That was my first video series that I've done. Was to create like a whole music video kind of theme with the girls who volunteered or wanted to do it. We had 3 rehearsals to make sure they felt ready, that they didn't feel like she's throwing me in to like do something,
Yeah, she's throwing me. What did that saying, right? That all of a sudden, oof.
It's like too much, like, and that's what I didn't want. Yeah, so we did 3 rehearsals. Overwhelming. And And just even like with the outfits, I think this is a good example. Like we had chosen outfits that were like 2 pieces, so our stomach showed. And there was one girl who was just like, I don't feel comfortable in that, and it's totally fine. We found her something else that could work that looked like everyone else's.
Okay.
And I think people like psych themselves out before. She was ready to quit on me. She was like, I'm not gonna do this, and I'm like, you didn't like come to me. Like, let's find a solution. Like, I'm not gonna force you into something that you're not comfortable in. You know.
Now, I would imagine that you take her to the side and you have a conversation with her.
Yeah, not in front of everyone. This was everyone left. We talked. I told her, I was like, here, let me find something. I'll show you samples, and then you tell me yes or no. You know, and I looked, I found it. She was like, okay, yeah, that works. And, you know, and she went through with the video.
She was happy.
And she was happy. And at the video, it's crazy because she's one that comes out at the end, and she's just pointing and just like, you could tell that the thought of like, what am I wearing wasn't no longer there.
Yeah.
You know,
that was like, just not even existent anymore.
No, it was out of her head. And you could tell in the video, and that was really cool. And that's the point of the videos, was to, I feel like there's a lot of girls who want to know what it feels like to do those kinds of videos, but we're like, oh, I'm not a dancer. Like, I'm not going to get that opportunity, you know? So I kind of created this opportunity for them so they get to experience what it is behind the camera and all the shoots, like, do it again.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, definitely.
And now this angle, and someone's off formation, and, you know, like, it's a whole world that none of them were used to, you know? And it brought a lot of confidence in even just them getting dolled up, like getting their makeup, hair, and then
the whole process.
Like, the video, yeah, it's a cool process. Yeah,
that's cool.
And then it also brings us like bonding, you know, because it was like 15 of us kind of, so it's like they had a pool, so we like stayed after, and it just creates like a whole little, like you said, a little community, and I think that's really awesome too. Yeah. In your opinion, why is this art form so liberating? Why is it so empowering? What a question, huh? I know.
Yeah.
I think it's because you can truly express yourself in any type of emotion. I think no matter if you're angry, sad, happy, whatever it is, like there's a way to express through dance. And I think that's just like awesome, you know, like it really is so therapeutical. Like it's therapy to me. And I think, yeah, I don't know. I think it's you're able to express whatever emotion you can.
Through dance. Yeah. Okay. So I would imagine that you have like a catalog of different songs that you guys have already danced before, and they all give out different energies.
Yeah. For sure.
Talk a little bit about that.
So there's some days, how we were saying, like I kind of give them off of like what I'm feeling. I never really promote my songs too early. I also don't like to promote my songs because I feel like people base themselves on going if they like the song without even trying what it's gonna be, you know. So
all right. So that's a secret right there.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like to share it unless I know I'm like, oh, they're gonna be so hyped with this song. Then I'm like, okay, let me tell them so they're like excited, you know.
So cool.
But I try not to share it too much because the mental process, I think, that goes before they get there, como que I'm like, they don't need to know what they're learning. Just come and then you'll learn, you know. But the song choices, I mean, just definitely like I go off of what I feel that day. I usually choreograph the day of I teach, so it's mainly like my mood. If I'm like, oh, like I feel like we need like a strengthening, like a powerful song, like some Beyonce, or you know.
Oof, yeah. I got the feeling that my wife now is going to sign up for this. You said Beyonce.
She's
a big Beyonce fan. Yeah.
Yeah. So Beyonce. I do a little bit of everything. Reggaeton. We do hip hop. There's some like slower music. There's even like the other day I did like a. I don't know if you remember that song, Mambo Number 5.
Yeah. From the 90s.
Yes, I did that throwback song because I was just like, we need something
Those
fun.
Those are good songs right there.
That's not so like in your head, like choreography, you know, something that just like makes it fun. So I just try and like rotate the vibe every week. So it's not just kind of the same thing, you know.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure you're really proud of all the things that you're doing right now.
Yeah. It makes me happy. It makes me, seeing how many lives I've been able to change makes me happy.
Can you enlighten us more with that information? Yeah. How many lives have you changed? Can you talk to us about a time where you had a student who, you know, was going through some really tough times?
Yeah.
And then, you know, they run into you, they register for your classes, and they start enjoying it, that all of a sudden, you know, you see a change.
Yeah.
Can you think of a time when something like that has happened?
Yeah, I've had a couple in like different scenarios that I think I would like to talk about. The first one was back when I had the studio. I had a student. She was back then, I feel like maybe 11 or 12, and very super shy, like couldn't talk to anyone, just like to herself. And she started taking my classes. We started doing privates, and we've had different conversations throughout, but without even having two conversations, to see her now, right now she's, I believe, 18 or 19. She just started at UTEP. And oh my God, I'm like, she's a completely different person.
Thriving.
Even back then when she was at the studio, her mom was like, you have transformed my daughter. She was like, I don't know what you did to her. Like, she's a new person. She has confidence. She's not afraid to talk, to, like, use her voice for whatever it is. And at that age, it's like nothing crazy, but they're not self-conscious anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely the definition of empowerment for me.
Yeah.
And I could tell you that there's been some really dynamic and talented and awesome therapists that have been on the LHP podcast that will recommend dancing as being one of the best things that you can do for therapy. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they do recommend it for their clients that, if they want to get them moving, they want to get them doing something that physical activity that's not conventional, like going to the gym. And, it doesn't have to be boring. It could be fun. It could be something totally out of your elements. And you never know, you might enjoy love it.
Yeah. I had this other situation with a mom more recently, and that one was really beautiful. She came up to me and was just like, I've been going through the worst postpartum depression, like where she couldn't get out of bed, like was just really, really bad. And she came and she was just like, you changed like my life, and that like those moments to me, oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Those moments to me are everything,
Those are the best moments.
Yeah.
This is what we want. No. Eso es bueno. We want for people to hear these stories. Yeah. This is what we want for people to do. We want for every single time we have someone such as yourself on the show, we want to be able to inspire that in them, because technically we're here in this world to make this world a better place for everybody else.
Yeah.
And you're definitely doing that. You're moving, you're creating, even on your bad days when you don't feel things are going well for you or your family, you show up and you're making a difference in somebody else's life. Yeah. So I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we're going to continue with making sure that you have that motivation, that drive, that energy to continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So how do people get a hold of you if they need to get a hold of you?
So
Pamela?
They can find me on my Instagram. It's under PamCakes2210. I'm also on TikTok under that one. They can DM me through there. I also have a website, www.lafemhealsandfitness.com.
Okay. We'll go a little slower on that one just to make sure that people...
All right, that one's www.lafemhealsandfitness.com.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Now, we always have this segment on the LHP podcast where we ask our guests to inspire the people that are watching and listening to this podcast, because I think that's mainly what we can do to, set the tempo for the next person that's going to come in and do another talk. So why don't you give us some words of encouragement for those that are listening right now?
Okay.
And it could be whatever it is that you want. Just,
something. Okay.
Have at it.
I would say don't let fear dictate what you're doing. If there's something that's been calling you and something that you're interested in and you're intrigued by, go do it. There's nothing negative that can come from it. And as far as like my classes, come try a class. You're going to feel so changed. But just don't let that fear stop you from doing the things that you want to do. Just go for it, and you're going to figure it out as you go. If you don't know how to do it at first, just do it, wing it, fake it. But don't let that fear stop you.
Awesome. Those are awesome words right there. I think in addition to doing the dance thing, I think you should also get into motivational speaking. That would be
Thank you. That's actually something that I wanted to start looking into.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, I hate talking, but in this kind of scenario, it feels good.
Well,
like,
if you think about it.
I hate talking like in a mic, but this felt really nice. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's because this type of dialogue here kind of opens doors for other things that you didn't maybe feel you had the talent to do. But now you're seeing that, this is flowing very well and it's helping other people, and it's going to be definitely beneficial for your business also.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you were able to see it that way also.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Well, pretty much thank you for being on our show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you for inspiring our audience. We really appreciate that. And thank you guys for watching this week's episode of the Love, Health, Prosperity podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and please follow us on all major social media sites. We'll see you guys next week.